Well, hello, Folk and Flick. How are you today? It looks like it's going to be a nice day. We got a lot of rain, filled up some barrels that catch water for the garden, which is nice. Lots of things to do today, but before I head out, I wanted to do a brief video. I hope it's not too long. Anyway, I'm going to listen to the rest of the Decoding the Gurus podcast today about Lanier, this tech guy in San Francisco that I've met. And, I used to live in San Francisco, so I was around a lot of those people back in the olden days in the 90s, late 90s. But it's pretty interesting. It sounds like a fair guru breakdown of this giant of the World Wide Web. Anyhow, I also have a fun thing, which is I posted something. Sometimes you post things on Facebook and people read the headline and they're already arguing with you about something like the war is good, the war is bad. So everything they read in a headline, they read through that lens, right? So they don't actually read the article. They just come back at you with a one-liner like bullshit or something. And I find that kind of fun. I just get disappointed because it's like, if you're really serious about commenting, why don't you take a moment and understand who the writer is, what they wrote, the fact that they have a body of work going back 10 years, and on this particular topic, a body of work going back, 7 years. The Russiagate thing, Aaron Mate, for example. I understand that the gray zone isn't everybody's cup of tea, and I don't always agree with their perspective on things, but I think it's an important perspective, and you can't have a detailed view of the world without including perspectives like theirs. And they're backed up by lots of very intelligent people, professional people with lots and lots of experience in their domain, in the domain in question, whether it's politics or strategic politics in terms of war, whatever it is. And so, they're worth, looking at. If I'm going to post and share it, it's because I'd like you to have a look. And then if you look at it and come back and say in a private message or on the wall that it's just ridiculous. Why are you reading them? They're crazy. Or this particular article is way off base because of, and then put a couple links there to set me straight. That's more fun than just having a comeback like bullshit. So anyway, it's annoying, but whatever. It's okay. It's just Facebook. It's just, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks or what people are going to ignore. I'm trying to find it because I want to read. Yeah, so one thing I posted was money is the tail wagging the political dog, and I got a Bible verse back from that. So more on that later. So I posted a quote. I was thinking, it's energy and commodities, stupid. That comes from It's the Economy, stupid, Bill Clinton. And my friend goes, no, it's violation of a sovereign country's right to self-determination. If it was all about commodities, then Europe would not be seeking alternatives to Russian gas. Germany is spending $200 billion to find other resources. Well, I've talked a lot about the fact that we've been talking about, in Europe, Europe has been talking about building infrastructure for other sources of gas, ports and so on, for liquid natural gas, and looking for alternatives and thinking about electrifying the energy grid and putting up windmills and solar energy and all this kind of stuff for a long, long time. But they haven't done anything. They didn't do anything until Russia invaded Ukraine. Now it's all, now we have to do it. So I'm saying it's energy and commodities, stupid. I wasn't even referring to the Ukraine war. the whole thing is about commodities and energy. And energy is the plus in OPEC now. I mean, Russia is the plus in OPEC now, which means Russia can really influence the price of oil, which is going to influence the price of gasoline and all that kind of stuff. I post a lot of different things on Globe Hackers, Facebook, which kind of triangulates on this stuff, gives you different perspectives from different sources and different creators and so on. So if you're interested in a subject, you can get some various points of view and try to create a more detailed understanding of a thing. So yeah, it's energy and commodities stupid. It always has been throughout history. People fought over the wheat fields, or they fought over the ocean trading lanes, or they fought over, the pirates went after people's loot that they were getting out of South America and Central America, the gold, El Dorado, all this kind of stuff. You're civilizing the natives, you're bringing them to God, shooting all the buffaloes so you can make farms and do in the States. I'm thinking John Locke, yeah, that kind of thing, you know. So yeah, the fact is they have a lot of minerals in Russia, but it doesn't matter just about Russia. You could talk about Africa, you can talk about Australia, Copper matters. It matters to China, it matters to the United States. And I'm looking at it through the lens of Hegans, who has the podcast, which I find very, very good, and Daniel Schmachtenberger's perspective on things. We need these things. They don't last forever. They get depleted. We need energy inputs to recycle things. And when we no longer have a lot of oil, then we're going to have alternative energy sources. So yeah, Germany's going to invest when there's a gun to their head. We could have avoided the whole invasion thing. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, they invaded. It's over now. I'm not saying that it's a good thing that Russia invaded a sovereign country. For fuck's sake, nobody's saying that. And when I post something like it's commodities and oil stupid, I'm not talking about, I'm not trying to make the point that, no, it's all about, look, maybe he was saying that because Russia invaded, then Germany's looking for alternatives, which I would agree with. But it's not the point. The point is the bigger picture. Everything is driven by oil and various commodities, hardcore atoms, copper, zinc, lithium, you name it. I mean, it's all there. These materials that our world, modern industrial, digital world needs to exist. And then all the players like Putin and everybody else who actually have hyper agency in the world and can move the world, bend it to their will, more than any of us can. The hoi polloi have no power, okay? We're just flies buzzing around trying to lick a little bit of energy off the top, while they're building out their country club. So that's what that's about. But anyway, I'm just asking people, if you see something there that looks interesting, look into it. The Russiagate thing was ridiculous, but if you're a Rachel Maddow fan, then you didn't get any other perspective on it. You got a certain spin that is propaganda, that does come from powerful constituents and powerful people. And it's just fed into your brain through the cable TV, and you think you're informed. Tragic. There are lots of books on the subject, lots of papers, lots of good journalism around the subject. Aaron Mate is not a irrational or ideologically stunted person. He's a good journalist. He has integrity. He's trying to do a good job. You can agree or disagree with him.
Between a Trump server and Russia. If there was any contact at all, it looks like it was just basically marketing emails being sent.
Whatever. Address the points Okay, sorry, that took too long. So, yeah, the guru thing. So, I also read this morning uh, a piece on Medium by this professor, Douglas Giles, PhD. He says he's a professor reaching beyond the ivory tower and digging deeper. And his academic research is in social and political philosophy and applies to a phenomenological approach, better understanding of social injustices and people's response to them. Okay, don't get your back up because we're talking about social injustices. It's not a thing. It's not a politically correct thing. Anyway, he wrote about the various spectrums we have. So, the political spectrum, part one, left and right. What does it mean? So, reclaiming terms that have become empty rhetoric. And then he wrote a part on conservatives. What is conservatism? Which I intuitively, that's what I think about conservatism. What he wrote, it just made sense to me. But then according to Jonathan Haidt, I have a certain genetic and kind of makeup that makes me a little more lefty. So I don't have the conservative makeup that you need to be a proper conservative. Although I'm interested in conservatives and I'm interested in their thinking, and I find lots of them articulate and well informed and fascinating. I don't disagree with everything they think, but generally I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not absolutist enough. So the name of this video is Absolutely Goddamn Right. You know, there's a pun in there somewhere. But there's a quote in here that I liked. Conservatism is the dread that somewhere, somehow, someone you think is your inferior is being treated as your equal. And I want to talk to Matt Macbeth about something that we laughed about when we were in traveling around Douro Valley in Portugal. And that was evangelicals, which not evangelicals, but evangelicals. So we know what evangelicals are, and God bless them. Evangelicals are a kind of spiritual Christian where having faith in Jesus is all about me. Jesus loves me. So me kind of thing. And we were joking about it. I'm not gonna take the piss out of Christian mystics. I love them. They're fine. But it does get excessive sometimes when it's combined with things like self-help and a kind of vanity that is typical of some holier than thou types that we know. It's the same thing when you're overly into health, you know. Is it because you want to be healthy or just because you're so vain? You know, you're looking pixel peeping for photographers and wrinkle peeping for vein types. You go to the mirror and go, "Oh my God, you know, this wrinkle is getting bigger. I need some creams and stuff. I've got to do something, got to be healthier." Or people who want to live forever. There's a certain vanity in that, right? I mean, I want to be around, William T wants to be around forever because he's so fascinated with himself. He'll never get bored with me. How could I? I'm my best company. That may be true, but it's not because I want to be my best company. I seek the company of people that I think are my superior. Coffee, not beer. One of my favorite festivals back in the day in Hong Kong, Marco Polo German Beer Fest, the Marco Polo Hotel, Kowloon. Yes, we drank a lot of beer and danced oopa oopa, sang German songs. It was fun. So anyway, that's a good article. I'm going to post that in the video description, and I hope you'll see it. And then the next thing I want to talk about is I've been following some conservatives, and my gateway is Alex's Subversive podcast. So I'm finding some really interesting people there. Some people I think annoy me. I just don't think they get it, but they're smart people, good people, earnest people. Some of them really confirm my intuition. So I'm going there thinking I'm open-minded. If they can sway me, that's fine. I don't mind at all. If I came to you next month and said, after 5 years of reading, I've decided I'm a new right guy, I wouldn't have a problem with it if that were the case. It's okay with me. I wouldn't think that the best part of me died, or that I was caught up in a cult for most of my life and finally took the black pill and woke up to reality or whatever. I don't mind if I change my point of view, my thinking. So this guy has a post. I was talking about him the other day, Young Heretics, and his name is Spencer Klavan, and he put up a video called The Brotherhood of Man. And, it starts off quoting the Bible.
26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
He's a Christian, and so on. And I was thinking when I saw the video, I was going, gosh, my mind's so complicated. If somebody brings up something, I flash back to 4 or 5 books I've read, countries I've lived in, people I've met, stuff I've read this morning, last week, last year. It's all a hodgepodge mess in my brain, and nuanced and complex, complicated, difficult, but interesting. And I have to dig through all of it to find out where I'm standing with it. I have to think it through, and I have a lot of questions. So every time I read something or hear somebody, I'm like, boy, that brings up a lot of questions. And if I comment on their video, it's usually a long paragraph, and people never like it because who's going to read that, So, yeah, I saw that and I was thinking, man, my brain is so complicated. I wish it was that simple. I could just, and it goes really well with the stuff that Douglas Giles put on Medium. It confirms my intuitions because, he's a conservative, he's a Christian, and the idea is that their particular way of life and belief and so on is much more correct, or the most correct thing, and everybody else is outside of that. So there's an us and them, and the them you really don't want to support. And I've always had this intuition that the problem with healthcare in the United States is that conservatives can't stand the thought of them getting healthcare. It's fine for us, and if we have to, we'll do the libertarian thing and go down to the doctor down the street and ask for help, or crowdfund it, or whatever we have to do. Or we'll say to the guy who's too lazy to pull himself up by the bootstraps and make enough money to pay for his health care that we'll help him out because we're that good. Or we'll pass the plate around at church and get some money together for the family, or whatever. But the idea that healthcare could be for everybody, for them as well as us, that just is that's a bitter pill. I can't stand that. And I sometimes think that the reason I perceive conservatives as voting against their interests is because, yeah, maybe they want this thing, but they can't stand the idea of them, the outside group getting it too. That's just too much. If they want something, they can get it themselves. And if we want something and the government gives it to us, that's fine. Because our guys, the vested conservatives, have the money to buy the influence necessary to get what they want, because they're smart people, they're conservatives, they're good at shit, and the liberals just want to give everybody's shit away to people who don't deserve it. Yeah, it's pretty typical. Nothing new there. I'm not trying to be innovative with that. So, yeah, it's hard to have a mind that's too nuanced or too full of multiple perspectives, because then it's not as simple as reading a Bible verse and saying and interpreting that in the way you do, and then saying, I've got it. I got the truth. I have a lock on everything.
And God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that creepeth upon the earth. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb yielding seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to every thing that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is a living soul, I have given every green herb for food. And it was so.
So sometimes what I hear as dog whistles, they're not coming out and saying, what I want is a white ethno state that's Christian, that has quote unquote American values, whatever they are, define them however you wish. Judge Scalia way or whatever, constitutional or something. Anyway, you're going to have your interpretation of it through your cultural lens and your belief systems and whatever, and you're going to say, yeah, okay, this is what I believe, and it's the right thing. So I really want to have a white ethno state in Idaho and Texas and some other states, and let the liberals have, Western Washington and New York or whatever, and live their filthy lives the way they want to, but just leave me alone. We want to live the correct way. Jesus is coming for us. And underneath it all, underneath their intelligence, their much more dressed up rhetoric, their philosophical aplomb, their extremely well read in their areas, you still have that. That's basically what they want. Maybe not. But I try to read between the lines when I'm listening to Curtis Yarvin talk about a monarchy. So who's it for? What's it opposed to? Because it's always opposed to something. There's always a them out there. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to win. And the whole focus now on with the new right, I think, is winning. So they want to win something. So what is it they want to win? So what territory are they going to be in, the new right? How are they going to defend it? How are they going to keep the other out of it? What are they going to have to do? Of course, they're not going to have, they're not going to have ovens where they cook everybody. At least they say that's not what it's about. And maybe it's true, it's not. They just want to have their place, right? Because they're sick. They're sick of us. They're sick of us outsiders who don't get it, who don't understand what the Lord really means in the New Testament, and who don't know how to read the Old Testament, who don't get it, and who don't understand the superiority of the white race. Because I think they are white supremacists in a way. I don't know. I've lived in too many countries, traveled too much, met too many people around the world to think that, Nigerians are inferior. They come from a different set of circumstances. They come from a different culture and so on. That's all. And like I said the other day, I've known too many people in the States who were acted white, whatever that is, right? Uh, they sound like me, they think like me, they talk like me. You know what I'm saying? So there are different cultures in the United States. And just like in Ireland, I don't know all of the idiom of Cork compared to Clare. And I don't know all of the Chicago street idiom compared to, Colorado ski at Vail kind of thing. So, yeah, they're coming from different cultures. So, if you're born and raised in a white culture, does that make you white? I just want the new right people to tell me, yeah, I think Curtis did once, more or less, but I don't know. So I'm trying to understand them. I think that these conflicts will never disappear. You can read the Jonathan Haidt book. I'll put it in the description if you want more on that. But yeah, we're kind of different types of people. And so to connect with one another, to do the hard work, to solve the difficult problems, we're going to have to learn how to listen to each other and understand where we're all coming from, so that we can get certain things done that are important. Otherwise, we're just going to stall across the train tracks and get hit by a big, huge freight train at the speed of a Japanese bullet train and be vaporized. So I guess I should quit now. I talked too long already. All right. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed this little chat, and I hope you'll come back again and communicate. BMT out.